Olivia, this was a strong Super Tuesday for Trump, but he's still facing 91 criminal charges, and much of the Trump campaign and RNC funds are being funneled to pay for his legal fees. So how could that affect his campaign going forward?
Well, the cases that Donald Trump are facing right now are sort of this looming black cloud over the election, because as well as he is doing on Super Tuesday, now it is a, face-off between him and Joe Biden. He still does have 4 cases ahead of him. And the question is going to become, is he going to go to trial? Is he going to be convicted? On what counts? And what does that do to the voters who are still making up their minds on if they want to vote for him or not? So we do know that Donald Trump is going to trial in 3 weeks in New York, and it's on those hush money charges. But what polling has shown is that voters do, view those charges less seriously. So the question becomes, is that going to have as much of an effect on him? And I think that graphic that you just showed right at the top there really speaks to the heart of the question. 79% of voters saying that he would be unfit for office if convicted. And again, he's going to trial in 3 weeks. So does that persuade people, if he is found guilty, of voting for him? Because remember what we've been talking about all morning, the Nikki Haley voter. Where are they going to go? And are enough of them going to go to Donald Trump if he is convicted of a crime in 3 weeks, while the rest of his other 3 cases are still very much up in the air and have no trial date and no indication that they could happen before the election?
Brian, with so much money from the campaign and from the RNC going toward Trump's legal fees, how careful do they have to be about how they spend that money?
Well, it's really about the source of where that money is coming from. You look to the FEC, or the Federal Election Commission, they're saying that the PACs, the ones that Donald Trump has created, like the Save America, they can use up to 100% of their funds to pay for his campaign. Then it becomes a distinction between, is this for the campaign or is it for his own personal uses? It's really depending on the source of where the money comes from, not necessarily the amount. So if they can do a good job of accounting as to where that money is coming from, they should be in the clear, unless there becomes a legal issue where we have to define, as we have in so many times in Donald Trump's presidency and thereafter, that funds should be only regulated for one area rather than another.
So, Brian, what happens if Trump is convicted of a crime?
I think the question, and Olivia's brought this up multiple times as well, is it's more about what case rather than if convicted. You look at some of the cases and people have opinions of them, such as the hush money case that's supposed to start on March 25th. I don't think a conviction there is really going to move the needle. But if you look at cases where we talk about election interference or the keeping of documents, things that I think go more to the heart of being a president and there afterwards, that's going to have a bigger effect. And while it might be politically motivated, as some people may argue, or as a witch hunt, as Donald Trump would say, I think those cases with Jack Smith have more of an influence as to his presidency. But ultimately, it's about him trying to garner more people into the party. Again, as you've shown before, Nikki Haley's supporters are saying they might not support him if he's convicted. I think it's more about which cases rather than an actual conviction.
But there's nothing in the law to prevent him from running or prevent him from being elected, even if he is convicted of a crime.
Absolutely not. So there's nothing that says a person who has either been indicted or convicted is not able to run for presidency or even run for the presidency. I mean, theoretically speaking, he can be in jail and still be the president. And on top of that, you even look to the Supreme Court's recent decision for the 14th Amendment in Colorado. We now know that that disqualification clause is not self-executing, meaning that Congress would have to create some sort of rule to kick out any president, whether it be Donald Trump or future presidents, that are convicted of a crime or serving jail time. There's nothing in the books right now because we've never thought we would have to answer this question. We thought it would be answered at the ballot box as to whether or not a president can serve if convicted or serving jail time.
Olivia, meanwhile, the House is investigating President Biden. What's the latest on that, and how could that impact Biden's campaign?
Well, just last week, the president's son went in for a closed-door deposition as part of that effort. But so far, it's really going nowhere, Diane. House Republicans haven't been able to put forward evidence, much of anything, no wrongdoing, clear evidence by Joe Biden or his family. And it's been sort of a benefit in some way to Joe Biden because he has been able to spin it as, what he says is sometimes another example of chaos among Republicans on the House. So it's sort of backfired on them. But I do think think what's been more damaging for Joe Biden was another investigation, which was the Robert Hur investigation into his handling of classified documents. Because remember, it wasn't just Donald Trump that was charged with classified documents, mishandling them. It was Joe Biden who was looked at. And though he wasn't charged, Robert Hur in his report did say that he was essentially too old to charge, and that fed right into his biggest weakness on the campaign trail, which is worries about his age. So sort of spared in the impeachment inquiry, but burned in the Robert Hur inquiry.
All right, Olivia Rubin, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.